Welcome to Tier 25, your digital accountability partner. In this module, we'll cover three basic components of getting started: organizing and establishing an account for your office or team, setting goals, and best practices. Building a culture of accountability is a critical part of growing an office. New advisors in particular need to condition themselves to the habits that will ultimately make them successful, and you're a key part of that. At 25 Point Systems, we're proud to bring you Tier 25, real-time activity management for a new generation of advisors. To get started, register for an account at www.25pointsystems.com. It's easy and takes less than a minute. At sign-up, you'll provide your name, company, email address, and establish a case-sensitive password. You'll need a credit card to register, but try it out free for 60 days and see for yourself the impact it can have on your entire organization. Once your account is established, you'll want to tell us about how your office operates. The administrator is the one individual with access to manage the account and visibility into the activities of the entire organization. At sign-up, register each of your managers and advisors seamlessly with our CSV upload or manual input. Then, tell us about who coaches who. You can always add advisors, delete advisors, and you'll only be charged for those on roll. Have advisors that are already on Tier 25? Send them an invitation to connect, enabling you to supervise them without assuming responsibility for the cost. Okay, you're ready to get started. Now, download the app from the Apple Store or Google Play, and it's time to get to work. For more on helping your producers get up and running, here's GAMA Hall of Famer John Baier.
Financial services is a rewarding but tough business. To succeed, your advisors need laser focus on the activities that matter, and that starts with setting goals. Tier 25 allows your advisors to customize an activity plan that can hold them accountable to, but one that's based around their own goals and their own levels of effectiveness. Producers set their own goals, but they're likely to need your help. At login, swipe right and hit Settings. The Settings function allows your advisors to plan how many weeks they'll work each quarter, their average case size, and of course, their annual production goals. These figures can be measured in commission, premium, GDC, or whatever fits your own company's or country's structure. Once you've established a goal, it's time to examine how to get there. Sales effectiveness is your closing ratio. In other words, when you ask someone to buy, what percentage of the time do they hear yes? For new advisors, that number may be perhaps 50%, while more seasoned advisors may experience higher levels of success, perhaps 70 to 80% or more. That's based on the individual. Phone contact to appointment ratio is a measure of how effective someone is on the phone. It doesn't take into account all the dials or attempts. 25%, for example, means that an advisor sets one new appointment for every 4 times they ask. To account for cancellations or rescheduled meetings, let's assume that only a percentage of the scheduled meetings will ultimately result in the completion of a fact finder. This ratio determines an advisor's effectiveness at getting results from the meetings they schedule. 75% therefore means that 3/4 of the appointments scheduled result in a meaningful fact-finding discussion that could lead to another meeting or perhaps a close right then and there. Which brings us to our final ratio we'll need to set: fact finders to closing interviews. Here, we'll measure the percentage of time that a fact finder is followed by a closing interview. Now, if your advisors use a one-interview process, which means they're asking for the business at the first meeting, this number would be 100%. If a two-interview process is more the standard, measure the percentage of time that a fact-finding meeting results in a second meeting, or a closing interview. You've now created a customized business plan for that producer. Swipe right again, and let's take a look at the activities that are needed to get us there. Select Goals. You'll find 3 measures on how we track our progress. The annual plan, which tracks our weekly activity averages, and the ultimate results we've set our sights on. New cases in production. The quarterly plan is the brains of the system, and Tier 25 will break your annual goals into 4 parts. I always say the most important part of hitting the quarterly plan is the number of closing interviews. And you'll see that highlighted alongside of new cases in production. Now, let's look at the weekly. Here's your scorecard for tracking your calls, fact finders, closes, and submitted business. But there are 3 items you'll want to commit yourself to each and every week. And I call this your weekly focus plan. A weekly focus plan is not a goal, it's the job. It's the heart of the 25-point system, and it consists of 3 things. 1, setting a certain number of new appointments each week. 2, securing a certain number of new prospects each week. And 3, hitting 25 points each day. These activities have been determined by the quarterly plan. I'm often asked why the number of closing interviews is not part of the weekly focus plan. The reason is they're not controllable in a weekly time frame. Which brings us to our daily tracking. Swipe right, hit daily, and what you have here is real-time activity tracking, all at the touch of a smartphone. Keeping tabs on how you're doing throughout the day has never been so easy. Your advisors can use the plus button to add activity as it happens, enabling them to stay focused and form the right habits each and every day. I created a 25-point system more than 25 years ago. I can remember as a new agent being frustrated, not knowing whether I'd put in a day's work if I hadn't sold anything. The 25-point system takes the guesswork out of that. An advisor will earn 1 point for each new prospect, 3 points for a referral, and 2 points for a center of influence meeting. 1 point for a phone contact, and another for setting an appointment. Of course, we can't forget selling activity. There's 2 points given for a fact finder, 2 points for a closing interview, and 2 points for submitting a new application. There is always a way to achieve 25 points every working day, and it's 100% controllable. With Tier 25, you as their manager have the unique ability to change the game when it comes to accountability. From your own device, you'll have access to all your advisors and their activity in real time. That means no more weekly accountability meetings when it's too late to change behavior. Imagine you're coaching an NCAA basketball team and you only found out the score after the game was over. It'd be virtually impossible to impact the outcome of the game. And the same is true for sales. At 25-point systems, we're putting the act back in activity. We're also here to support you in any way we can. Please visit us at www.25pointsystems.com, where you can find answers to frequently asked questions, request technical support, or learn more about how to engage our team directly.